Do you like scary movies? Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 upcoming horror movie remakes. Before we begin, we publish new content every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. For this list, we're taking a look at horror remakes and reboots that have yet to come out as of March 2019. Number 10, A Nightmare on Elm Street. Release date to be announced.
Exit. No running in the hallway.
While the original Wes Craven classic remains one of the horror greats, 2010's A Nightmare on Elm Street was widely seen as a lackluster remake. 5 years later, it was announced that another remake was in development with a script by David Leslie Johnson, who worked on Orphan, The Conjuring 2, and James Wan's Aquaman. Part of us would like to see Robert Englund reprise his career-defining role as Freddy Krueger for one last hurrah, similar to Jamie Lee Curtis in 2018's Halloween. While Englund has expressed interest in making a cameo, he'd personally like to see Kevin Bacon inherit the role. Having previously starred in Friday the 13th, Tremors, and Hollow Man, Bacon as Freddy could actually be the stuff nightmares are made of. Number 9, Rabid. Release date to be announced 2019.
I'm here to help you, sweetheart.
David Cronenberg's 1977 body horror flick might not be the most well-known entry in his filmography. This movie's shocking premise is very much in the spirit of his other works, however, centering on a woman who grows an armpit orifice that feasts upon people's blood, turning them into zombies. Yep, that's Cronenberg, all right. Whereas the original film starred porn icon Marilyn Chambers, this remake features Laura Vandervoort as a woman who undergoes a risky stem cell treatment following an accident. Behind the camera are sisters Jen and Sylvia Soska, who consider Cronenberg one of their key creative influences. The Twisted Twins will put a fresh spin on Rabid in a story that targets the fashion world and the price of making your dreams come true.
You gotta come quick. You gotta come quick and get me.
Number 8, Jacob's Ladder. Release date to be announced 2019.
Had a weird flash just then.
The link between military combat and post-traumatic stress disorder has been in the public eye more than ever. With that in mind, Jacob's Ladder holds up just as well today as it did in 1990. Following a Vietnam veteran who's haunted by strange hallucinations, this psychological thriller kept its audience guessing what was real and what was an illusion. The 2019 version has been described as more of an homage than a retread. The story will be brought into the 21st century, focusing on a veteran who returns from Afghanistan rather than Vietnam. At the same time, the filmmakers have strived to maintain the themes that made the original film such an intriguing descent into delusion. Number 7, An American Werewolf in London. Release date to be announced.
It's in front of us.
Like Jordan Peele and John Krasinski, director John Landis rose to prominence through his comedic works, but his contributions to the horror genre are equally significant. His 1981 cult classic An American Werewolf in London received an Academy Award for its makeup effects, which still hold up phenomenally almost 4 decades later. That being said, we hope the remake also sticks to mostly practical effects rather than going the full CGI route. The project is staying in the family, as it's being written and directed by John Landis' son, Max Landis. Max has already finished a draft for the remake, although he joked that, quote, every time he opened the final draft file, his laptop would slam closed under the weight of his father's expectations.
I will not accept this. Go away. Number
6, The Fly. Release date to be announced.
I'm becoming Brundlefly.
Like our previous entry, 1986's The Fly stands out as one of the few horror films to win an Oscar, taking home the award for Best Makeup. As one of David Cronenberg's most successful films, many forget it was actually a remake of a 1958 B-movie. The story of a man who evolves into a fly hybrid creature is set to be remade a second time, with J.D. Dillard reportedly co-writing and directing. Little had been announced about the project since it was first announced in 2017. In that time, though, Dillard has built up his profile with critically well-received indies like Slight and Sweetheart. Talking about his vision for The Fly, Dillard described a deeply emotional story with blockbuster elements.
Be afraid. Be very afraid.
Number 5, Nosferatu. Release date to be announced. F.W. Murnau's adaptation of Bram Stoker's Dracula is often cited as one of the essential vampire movies, if not the best. Even if you've never seen this 1922 German masterpiece, chances are you'll at least recognize an image of actor Max Schreck as Count Orlok. Werner Herzog gave his take on Nosferatu in 1979, and in recent years, multiple filmmakers have tried to get a remake off the ground. Through Kickstarter, filmmaker David Lee Fisher successfully funded a remix, with the great Doug Jones playing Count Orlok. Meanwhile, Robert Eggers of The Witch is reportedly looking to reteam with actress Anya Taylor-Joy for another Nosferatu remake. Eggers and Taylor-Joy have been busy since their breakout film, but they certainly seem tailor-made for this material. Number 4. Grudge. Release date, January 3rd, 2020. When cinephiles think of Japanese horror movies, Ju-on the Grudge is one of the first titles that comes to mind. The 2004 Western remake starring Sarah Michelle Gellar enjoyed great financial success, although the franchise eventually deteriorated into direct-to-video territory. Fans are willing to forgive and forget, however, as long as this reboot lives up to its potential. Producers Sam Raimi, Robert Tappert, and Takashige Ichise are all reuniting, with directorial duties being entrusted to Nicholas Pesce, whose previous horror credits include The Eyes of My Mother and Piercing. The promising cast already has us screaming, with Andrea Riseborough of Mandy, Betty Gilpin of Glow, Lynn Shay of Insidious, John Cho of Searching, Damien Bashir of The Nun, and Jackie Weaver of Bird Box on board. Number 3. Candyman. Release date, June 12th, 2020.
Helen, I came for you.
With a chilling performance from Tony Todd and a premise grounded in urban legend, Candyman is a highlight of the horror genre for numerous reasons. Most notably, it was rare for a horror movie to touch upon themes of race and class in the early 90s. You could even argue the film's racial commentary predated the Oscar-winning Get Out. So it's only fitting that Jordan Peele's production company is resurrecting Candyman for modern audiences. Less like a remake and more of a spiritual sequel, the film will be helmed by Nia DaCosta, who earned rave reviews for her directorial debut Little Woods. As far as casting goes, Lakeith Stanfield of Get Out and Sorry to Bother You has been rumored, although he wouldn't be playing the titular Candyman.
You're mine now.
Number 2. Pet Sematary. Release date, April 5th, 2019. With it becoming a box office phenomenon, Hollywood is naturally planning to dig up several other classic Stephen King tales in the years to come. King's 1983 novel Pet Sematary was previously adapted into a 1989 feature film, and a new version is coming out just in time for the original's 30th anniversary. Like its predecessor, the remake also revolves around the Creed family, who moved to rural Maine where they endure an unspeakable tragedy. Overwrought with grief, Jason Clarke's Lewis turns to a demonic pet cemetery where he defies the laws of nature. Sometimes dead is better. But with a well-oiled cast, a stylish look, and a plethora of creepy possibilities, Pet Sematary could come roaring back to life.
Sometimes dead is better.
Before we unveil our number 1 pick, here are some honorable mentions.
Does this look inanimate to you, punk?
What are you waiting for?
Number 1. Child's Play. Release date, June 21st, 2019.
Chucky?
Chucky is one of the slasher genre's most iconic monsters, although admittedly he's become something of a caricature as of late. The little Hellraiser is overdue for a modern makeover, and this reboot should reinvent Chucky for a new generation. Gabriel Bateman made his film debut in 2014's Annabelle, and it appears he's not done being tormented by sinister dolls. As Andy Barclay, Bateman leads a cast that includes Aubrey Plaza as his mother and Brian Tyree Henry as Detective Mike Norris. The film will remove the original supernatural elements, instead rooting Chucky's killing spree in AI gone wrong. Given the current state of technology, the new Child's Play not only has the potential to be scary, but also more relevant than one would anticipate. Do you agree with our picks? Check out these other great clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.